Wait, 5 o'clock. 4 o'clock. Order. Our first order of business, if you look at our agenda. Not here yet. Shane Haggerty is not here yet. Alfred Gonzalez.
He's here.
Ruben Gonzalez.
Here.
Jack Leverage is not here yet. Edward Mena.
Present.
Jackie York.
Here.
Laurie Searles.
Here.
Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we needed 4, so I think we're fine with a quorum.
We have six.
Six.
We have six and we needed
Oh, we
five.
have 6.
You
I
didn't count
left
yourself.
me out. All right, we have 6. So we needed 5, we have 6, just to be sure everybody knows. All right, we do have to have the roll call, now the Pledge of Allegiance, and you guys have in front of you the wonderful state pledge and the national pledge. So let's start with the pledge to the United States flag of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Thank you.
Play ball.
That's right. I'm going to throw out the first question. Are there any, we have public hearing on the proposed budget. We did have, this is our, I guess, our public hearing on the proposed budget.
Correct.
We've had, you all had a session, a training session on it last month, and I'm hopeful that if you have any questions or additions, when we bring up the budget, you'll be able to comment on that. Do we have anybody from the public?
No, sir, we do not.
All right. And then public comment. Do we have anybody from the public who has registered to comment?
No, sir, we do not.
All right. We have the minutes of March 20th. They're in front of you. I will entertain any additions or corrections or a motion to approve them as
Motion
they've
to
been.
approve minutes for March.
Second. Is there a second? Lori. Any discussion? Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I do want to note for the record that Jack is here with us.
Hello.
So Jack is, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you very much.
Very
Yes,
proud of you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, we have the financial reports. My favorite person.
Good evening. Rosa Goldman, Chief Financial Officer. We are presenting the financial report for the months of February and March 2025. The financial report contains the balance sheet, report of revenues, expenditures, and changes in cash balance, the investment report, and the note to the financial report. Under the notes to the financial reports, for the month of February, we had two accounts a little bit over budget, the bonding general
Tab
insurance.
Just so you all know.
Sorry, Rosa.
That's
Tab
okay,
5.
not a problem.
All right, go ahead, I'm sorry. Rosa.
Right, under the bonding general insurance, we had $355, and it was because of additional Texas notary fees. And then we had the audit and consultation, it's $1,381 above budget. The audit fees were just a little bit higher than we anticipated. Are there any questions?
So I think probably from now on, if you could, if you number the pages, Rosa, then people could say, look at page 2, so they can follow it.
Okay, sure, not a problem. Okay. I am towards the end of the report. I don't think I have the pages, but I am now at the last page of the financial reports, where it says investment report on top, and then it says March 31st, 2025. And for the month of March, we didn't have any additional over budget amounts. So it was only February. Are there any questions?
So from what I see, we're ahead in receipts and
Oh, yeah.
we're behind in expenditures.
Well, actually, for the expenses, we are
More or
also
less,
very
just a
good
little.
overall. So it's just those
Right.
two accounts, they have a little amount over budget.
I just want to point out, we're
Yes.
fine, because we.
Right. Oh, yeah,
If anything,
yeah.
we've underspent and we've over-received, so we're okay. But just
Yes, we
barely.
are.
So we're right on the line. We're on the line. of what we
Exactly.
need. Are there any questions on the financials? You have both the February and the March financials, and again, they're behind tab 5. Take a moment to look them over. You can see the disparity is almost nil. I mean, we're almost right on the money in every category. There's very few, the variances are very little between budget and year-to-date.
I have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Chair. Dinah, with respect to the proposed, remember we had an increase for this year, for the summer, for the protests that we had. Is that still on track for what the
Yes, sir.
increase we thought was?
Yes, sir, we haven't gotten near it yet, but we're just starting the hearings. So we'll have a better idea on that. The current budget?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have an idea, we'll have a better report on that in August.
Okay, thank you.
I do
So
want to
far,
point
we
out,
are good.
I do want to point out for the record that Sergio Coronado's here as well, which we haven't done.
Sorry I'm late, traffic.
No, that's
Yeah.
fine. I want to sign you in. You're signed in. Okay, so is that satisfactory? Did you get a good
Yes.
answer? Are there any other questions on the financials for either February or March? Rosa, as always, you do a great job. We are we're real tight. You can see that we're running a budget that's right on the money. This is a lot of experience, and we're doing a great job. I'll entertain a motion then to accept these financials, subject to an audit, which we'll have later during the year. Okay, there you go. We got 2 moves to approve and done in a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It's
Thank you.
unanimous, so we've approved the budget. Thank you, Rosa, as always. All right. We'll go back to the beginning. All right. Every year we do this. We have to talk about it, a bank depository. And kind of can tell you that it's always a struggle that you try to get a bank to even submit to an RFP. We are going to send out an RFP again. Is that
Well,
right?
that's what, it's on the agenda for us to get permission from the board to go ahead and go through the process of sending out an RFP, 30 day, posting it in the paper, the 30-day notice, and then in August, we'll bring who responded and what our recommendation is. Normally, they're for 2 years with 1 2-year extension. Well, we've used up that 2-year extension, so we have to go back out. We want to follow the process. Usually, we just get 1 to respond, but you never know. There's always new banks, and so we'll
Chair,
do that.
I have a question. Who are we using now?
We're using Wells Fargo? Wells Fargo.
It's the only bank that responded. And I even reached out to my bank to try to respond. The problem is, it's not a very lucrative business for a bank because we have a lot of ins and outs. We don't leave a lot of money in it. It's just, so we
Right,
don't,
see.
right?
Right, and see, we have to turn any monies we have over to the entities, so it's a very short, our certificates of, they're like 6 months and 9 months, we can't have anything really, or 3 months and 6 months.
Only 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days.
Right.
30 days.
Not even 3
So
months.
we're not a very interesting
Well,
entity.
you make a little, but you don't make enough for the amount of time that it takes for you to actually manage this account. So they have to manage the account. So far, Wells Fargo, in the years I've been here, Wells Fargo's been the only depositor.
Right, but we
And
want to go
every
through
time I try to get other banks into it.
we do try to, we do want to go through the official process
Right.
so that we give everybody the opportunity. And I think 1 year we had someone else that had bid, but their charges were so much higher because of the fact that they weren't going to really make any money off of us, so. but
And
we
Wells
wanna-
Fargo's
we
not
want
cheap, but they're the
permission
only show in town.
to go
They're
to
the
an
only show in
RFP,
town.
so-
Unless you guys have connections with another bank that would at least, we'll send out the RFP, it'll be published in the paper. So if they would just respond, we'd like to see at least 2.
Because we've had a lot of new banks come into El Paso.
Yes.
Like I say,
PNC,
this
and
isn't very
so-
lucrative.
But
So,
we do, and because we're going to ask later in the agenda, because of the hearings, not to have a June or July, that's why we're asking for permission to go ahead and get the process started, then results to the board
September.
in August. We'll do it in
If there's
August.
no more questions, I'll motion to approve the
Thank
RFP.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Have you had any issues with the bank so far?
No, sir, none at all.
None, in
They've
all the
been-
years,
They've been amazing. We
except
have
they're
a-
the only one, but no, they do a great job.
Okay.
They could have a lot of issues.
They do a great job. And we don't want somebody else because they're not doing a good job. It's just we want to see more participation from local banks.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, they are doing a good job, they respond to us.
Wells Fargo's not
Yeah.
local.
Rosa has a personal connection with someone there, and so we usually get things resolved pretty quickly.
Okay.
Who do you bank with at the county?
We use Vantage Bank, I believe. Vantage.
We try to use local, and that's our problem. So we're trying to get a local bank into it, and they just don't make enough money on this to
Well,
make it work.
I think the process, they go through the county department purchasing, and they're the ones that put out the bid, and they were the ones that were selected by the court.
So you got more than one bid.
Well, they have a lot more money than
And they have a
us,
lot
too,
more
yeah.
money, and they hold it for a lot
And they,
longer.
and they have investments.
What do we do?
We don't have
All
more
right,
money.
Ed makes a motion
You
to
don't
accept
have more money
the
than
sending out of an
Miss
RFP for a bank depository. Is there a second?
Second on that?
Is there a second?
Sure, I second. No, let him
Lori's-
second.
And we both second. We got 2 seconds. All right, is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so we now have, we're gonna send out an RFP, and we'll let you know in August who responds. We hope somebody will. Discussion on the budget. Now, you guys, we've been doing this budget now for a month, 2 months. You've had it. We sent out a preliminary budget, we amended it, we changed it, we've done everything. If you have any additions or adjustments to that budget, or any questions related to any line item on that budget, now would be the time. And this is, you represent the entities, because this is gonna go to the entities, and they have to approve it to get back to us, so, right?
Yes, and I do want to mention to the board that as per the statutes, this was posted as a public hearing today, and it was in the Ink, the Times, and El Dario. So we had it in English and in Spanish, so we did the postings that we were supposed to do in the media, in the timeline that it was required, and posted as the budget. We have visited with all of the entities, David Stone, myself, Mr. Thompson, and Mr. Medina. And then we presented to the city council just on Monday, and we've had no responses from the public or from
Good.
So the
and
bottom,
we made the recommended changes that were discussed at the budget workshop and sent you guys out the updated budget. It was, the only change was on the ARB.
and rather than look at specific line items, unless you have one for us to look at, if you look at page 3, which is the budget summary, you'll see that basically this year's budget is an increase over last year's budget by about 6%. And that does include, you know, the customary increases to our employees, but it also includes knowing that especially our maintenance vehicle, all of our vehicles, gas is going up, and maintenance on those vehicles has gone up, and some of our utilities we're expecting to go up substantially. So that's the reflection of that 6% increase.
And discussed, when we had the budget workshop, we discussed
Yeah.
pretty in detail, so. And the budget committee made their recommendation.
Which was to approve the budget.
Yes, sir,
I'm hoping.
with the amendment that we,
The budget committee's motion and amendment are what's being proposed to you. Does not require a motion, because that is a motion since it came from the committee. Doesn't even require a second. So all we need to do is discuss that. The budget requirement, the budget motion from the budget subcommittee was to approve this budget with that amendment. What was the amendment? Let's read it so
the
nobody
amendment
can see.
was to increase the appraisal review board section to be the same as last year.
Okay,
602, 525.
because,
And I would
we
like
don't-
a vote for the record.
oh, there will be a
Let's
vote.
vote on it for.
Oh, there's a vote. It just doesn't require
Oh,
a
okay,
motion.
okay.
Doesn't require a motion, it is a motion. The committee's recommendation is automatically a motion, doesn't require a second.
I just want to point something out, that last time we discussed the legislature proposing the personal property exemption.
Yes.
My understanding is from 250,000, it was, that we're considering, it's now dropped to 125,000, and so that's what's proposed right now. So it's
And
about
I was
half of
going to
that.
discuss that in the director's report,
Yes,
to kind of go over some of the things that we're still going to, there's still requirements that we're going to have to do even though they're doing that.
right.
Yeah.
So,
What that's gonna affect is the entities.
yeah,
You guys are
Yes.
gonna be affected,
Affect
because
the-
you can
the
only
other entities.
charge your taxes based on what
Yes.
the appraised value is,
Well,
less that exemption.
Where is that right now? It said here's at 100 right now?
125.
I think now it's
It's gonna
at
be
the, what do they call it, what they try to do between the House and the Senate, to try and reach an agreement on, you know, but it's, my understanding is it's dropped down now from 250 to 125,000.
And it was 100 before, so.
No, it was,
No, it was 250.
no,
It
no, no.
was
Yeah, they're dropping it.
They were
No.
proposing 250. Right now, what it is right now is $2,500.
Oh, okay, so there you go.
They're upping it by 122,000 right now, and it was up by
Substantial
247,000.
reduction in taxes. Trouble is, the entities who depend on that
Yes.
money are gonna be substantially affected by the fact they're not gonna be able to get it.
Yeah.
Correct.
Just so
There's
It
a
does
everybody
not
surplus
knows.
go-
in the Texas budget.
It does
so-
not go into effect until
The following budget.
2026.
Yeah.
If it gets through all the process. And
gets
we're
through.
waiting to see all of the haves and the have-nots, and I'll go over that in a little more detail
Yeah.
as to what we're gonna be watching, because it's not, well, I'll go into it in the director's report, yeah, because there's a lot of stuff we're watching.
So we have the
Yes, sir.
motion of the committee and doesn't require a second, but we do have discussion. Does anybody have any other questions? Not only about the budget summary, but any line items in the budget? If not, we'll just vote on it. Is that okay? Everybody okay? I don't want to give anybody a rush here. All in favor then of approving the budget as proposed with the amendment that increases the ARB allocation, please say aye.
Aye.
Is anybody opposed? Let the record show that it is unanimous, that we now send it to the entities for them to look at. They need to approve this before we can do it.
It'll go to the entities tomorrow. They'll have 30 days in which to disavow it through a resolution at one of their hearings. If that happens, then we'll have to call a special meeting of the board to make any adjustments, and all that has to be done. It doesn't go back to the entities at that time. The board just makes adjustments and they approve it, and all has to be done by July 15th, because we're on an October 1 fiscal year. But I think we were very diligent, and of course, anything at the end of the year, as y'all well know, anything that's not spent will go back.
And we have
So-
refunded to the entities.
Yes, and we do. We refund every year. Knock on wood, yeah. We've been really good about that.
And, you know, the entities have seen the budget. I mean, we don't hide it. It's not been a hidden thing. So
They
they've had
received
plenty
it
of
on
time.
the 14th, I think, of March.
March.
Yes, sir.
So they've had the budget. If we would have heard anything, we would have heard it by now, I'm thinking. So we'll go. All right, any other questions? Okay, let's move on to my favorite people, the Ward Law Appraisal Group. Peggy, it's all yours.
Really appreciate that. Okay. All right, I need a little clicker. That's the technical word for this, right? Clicker? Thank you. All right. Here's my pretty picture of all the different kinds of industrial stuff y'all have here in El Paso. So to start out with, I'm just going to give you a broad overview over time of the properties that we appraise. And over time, they've gone up in most school districts. And every year, I say they're going to go down by 10%. So far, they haven't. But and this is from 2024, so we saw another increase in 2024 overall, about 7%.
Can you go back for 1 second? Peggy?
Sure.
And can we get a copy of these?
Yes, I wanted to say that anybody who would like a printed copy of this, we talked about printing it, and we said, well, let's just, instead of printing it and having some people leave it, and that we just say, anybody who'd like a printed copy, you're welcome to.
Print it, or we'll email it. We
Or
can email
email
it to
it.
you. We have it
Okay.
in our system.
So my question is related to Socorro and Ysleta.
Yes,
So, I mean, I do development. Those areas have exploded.
yes, they have.
And yet we're showing that there's actually a reduction in the Socorro allocation, and we're showing there's a reduction in the Ysleta allocation. And I'm wondering about that because those two areas are like off the chart.
Right, and so what we see here is that in Socorro, we saw a huge increase
Increase,
in
right.
23. And we don't appraise all the properties. We
This is
only
just theirs.
appraise
I know this is on
the
their
medical
properties.
and large industrial.
But you compare that
So-
with what commercial values are like in that area.
Right, but we don't appraise the, just
No,
the
no, I get
regular
it, I get it.
stuff, or the
But you
residential.
use those as a
But-
gauge. to
But
come
you
up
can
with a
see
value.
here, there's really been, between 20 and 23, it doubled in Socorro.
Yeah. As it
And we
should.
are seeing that, especially with medical and the different types of those kind of properties. In Isleta, there's been a smaller increase in that same time frame, but a fairly large increase. So it was only in this year that the properties we were appraised, there weren't new ones, is what, basically, that were given to us to appraise.
So you didn't get a lot of new, this is all like the old.
Right.
Amazon
Because
was already
the
there.
CAD tells us which properties to appraise. And it's the complex properties is what they give us. Yes,
Board law, I noticed that Fabens, it went down.
yes.
Is there any particular reason or?
I can check into that. I don't know. It was a big percentage, and I can make a note of that.
I mean, it's lower than 2020 value, so it's way.
Yeah.
It's usually, Mr. Gonzalez, it's usually either the cotton gin or the
Right.
pipeline that runs through there.
Farms have moved
I
to,
would think that they may be
I just need a pen.
prospering because of the Tornillo Bridge.
Here,
It's gives them
No,
that
Nothing is out there yet.
We're
we're
Nothing is
working
out
on
there.
it, but
So,
not yet.
Yeah, there's
James
nothing
says
out
he
there.
thinks it's Southwest Pecan,
Yeah, Southwest Pecan, yeah.
that they just basically went out of business under it.
Now, remember, this isn't the total certified,
Right,
this
it's
is
just hers.
just the properties that they deal with.
Okay.
But yes, sir, there is nothing going on with the Tornillo Bridge. We checked that several times during the year to see if anything's, we were just out there, Mr. Thompson, Mr. Medina, and Mr. Stone and I, and there was nothing going on out there.
Wardlaw does the industrial and large commercial.
Right.
So it would be, but I know Jerry built a huge shopping center out in that area. That may or may not have been picked up in 24, it's probably 25.
Well, and we don't do the shopping centers.
We do.
Oh,
They
Yeah,
do
we
the
do that.
shopping
No,
centers.
So
they
you
do. yeah,
industrial,
Industrial
And
and
utilities.
medical.
And utilities.
Yeah.
Industrial, medical, utilities, and renewables.
I know that Providence is building an add-on to their hospital way out on the
And
east.
so we would, if
So
that,
we
is
do
that in
the-
Fayetteville?
We do the real estate, and they will do the personal property
Yeah.
because of
Oh,
the
okay.
type of
I got
equipment
it.
that's there. So you gotta remember that there's separation there.
And this is just the ones that we appraise. And in the smaller districts like that, you can see big changes just because it's basically a small amount. So if one single company goes out of business and it's $50 million or $30 million, and that's what there is, then that's going to be, that's going to be an issue. So that's a difference. 47 to 60 is $13 million. So easily, one company could have gone out of business, and that would make that big.
It's
of
a
a
great
difference.
chart for you guys to show your
Yeah.
entities. All right.
And I'm happy to email this to whomever.
But remember, as they've said, this is not everything. This is just
This is
what
the ones
Wardlaw
that we
looks at,
appraise.
which is industrial. And
Peggy, I know there's some huge warehouses being built across from the other side of Joe Battle.
We have those, we do that.
That's not Wardlaw.
We do
That's
that.
not you guys, right? Industrial, that would be.
If it's just warehousing, we don't do it.
Okay.
We do the manufacturing kind of industrial.
I know Pepsi
So-
built a massive warehouse back
Yeah,
there.
and we
Like-
have been picking,
Yeah.
we've been picking those up, yeah.
You'll see those later because when we give.
Yeah, so I'm going to get to the top 10, and then we
Alright.
can kind of talk about those.
Go
for
for
a
it.
second. So there was a question last time about accounts. So this is the number of accounts, but each account has multiple segments. So what we do, we look at a company and we look at every single type of property that company has. So we appraise about 7,000 segments and about 650 accounts, or 30 or whatever. And last year, the market value of those accounts went from 5.5 billion to 5.36 billion. And a single segment can have a lot of assets on it. Like if we're talking about a cell phone company, they can have hundreds of individual parcels of property in a single segment. So for example, if we're talking antennas, they can have hundreds of antennas that go into just a single segment, which is a part of the whole value to that company. So this year, one of the things that we started that the appraisal district asked for, and Mr. Thompson and I were talking about that today, that's been a big benefit, is getting notices out in small batches. so we start, as soon as we start getting renditions in, we start getting the appraisals out. So on the 17th of April, we started getting the first batch of notices out, and then every week we send out those appraisals, those values that we've worked. Now, what happens is renditions are required to be sent by April 15th, unless you get an extension. And a lot of, I would say probably most of your larger utilities ask for an extension, which is May 15th, which is today. So that's when it has to be postmarked. So we still have about 33% of the notices values that we still are working, because we have until that May 15th deadline. So we've been calling actually some of the taxpayers that have, because a lot of them will email them to us, so we get them immediately because we're used to working. And so the ones that we don't already have, we've been contacting them and saying, hey, get us those renditions. So here we go, top 10. Drum roll. El Paso Electric is your big top 10 taxpayer in 2024. Almost $1 billion.
Has been consistently.
Yep. Western Refining is second with $579 million. And then Freeport McMoran, and then Amazon. And I wanted to use Amazon as an example because Amazon has a lot of inventory, but they also have, and I actually went out and did the inspection one year. It was so fun. They put all these little robotic things running around all over the place. And so that's the type of equipment that we appraise, is all of the equipment that's used in either the warehousing or the manufacturing process, as well as vehicles and a lot of things like that. So Texas Gas Service, Toro, Union Pacific Railroad, I forgot about the railroads, that's included in the utility values. Snyder Electric is growing like crazy. They are taking over more and more buildings. And then Contour Brands and Treehouse Foods, because I forgot we do a lot of food companies. It's really interesting, the different types of properties that we work. But and this is a good example of the different types of properties that we work. So the refining company, we do a detailed appraisal on this refinery every single year, looking at their yield. We do an income and a cost as well as a market approach. There's not a lot in the markets because there are not a lot of refinery sales. In fact, there's not been a sale since 2023. So, but we do a complete detailed appraisal of the refinery every year. We had a meeting with Western, and they have agreed informally before notices to a value of $454 million on the refinery itself, an increase of 8.6% compared to 2024. And because we secured a settlement before any ARB proceedings, there won't be any lawsuits filed. And as many of you are probably aware, before we took over, there was a succession of lawsuits year after year after year. And so because we do such a detailed appraisal, we're able to stand behind our appraisal, convince them that it's a good appraisal, and they've been willing to agree to the increases.
One of the other pluses with Wardlaw is, since the beginning, the inception of us hiring them or contracting with them, we've been included in the discussions. So Rick Medina went this year to San Antonio to meet with Wardlaw's associates and with the folks from Marathon Refinery, and was there to negotiate and had authority to sign our part of it. So I'm very excited that we continue that working relationship. It has saved us a lot of money really over the years because of the lawsuits.
And it's really helpful.
Yeah, and I'd like to chime in. I was back in the old days when, we were paying a fortune in legal fees. So thank you. Yeah, applause.
So they do a great
Yeah,
job.
it's really amazing the difference.
Thank you.
And it was always a major stress on everyone and everything.
Yeah, and the taxing entities.
Yes, everybody.
Having to have certified values that they've set their taxes on and then have to give a refund.
And we
This
don't
has been
really want to
amazing.
be in contention
No,
with taxpayers.
no.
And they need to pay their fair share, but the bottom line is, we're not looking to be adversaries. So
We
this
want to
is-
work with them, and we've built a very nice working relationship with the refinery and with Peggy and her group and us. And so it is a
Win-win.
good contingency that we've got going, and it's a win-win for everybody.
And it's a mutual admiration society because they're great to work with. So I've really enjoyed working with all of the people here.
And neither side was happy,
Rick
but
did a
we were
good job
okay.
this year.
Good job, Rick.
El Paso Electric, you were mentioning increases in, in electric. So they filed an extension. We have still not gotten their rendition. I have, and so have my office, been calling their tax rep and trying to get them to give us the information. And so we're still waiting on their rendition. We've begun our unit appraisal. We've been through their FERC report, which is publicly available. And due to new construction and increased assets in El Paso County, we expect a large increase.
So Peggy,
in their
everything
value.
that they do has to be, if they do something in Culberson or Hudspeth, like new solar farms that they
Right.
build, is that included as an asset to them? Is it something we can do, or does that have to be counted in that
It's
count?
included as an asset to them in their unit appraisal. But then that asset is appraised in Hudspeth County.
Oh, so we don't.
So we don't get a value from that. Our problem is that apparently in the past, the adjacent counties are appraising them like at almost nothing. I think the total value last year was $17 million for them in Texas outside of El Paso. And what the state does on their study is they just add it together. So if they're way underappraised, it really hurts. It
Do we
hurts
have any
us.
relationship with the taxing entities? in
Well, that's an
Hudspeth
idea.
or-
Hudspeth is super low.
Yeah,
Do
we do, but you've got to remember Hudspeth, per se, they're small offices with maybe 3 to 5 people. So they just, and they don't have resources, so they pretty much accept whatever value is.
Can we help them out a little bit?
Yeah, I was gonna say, can we
No.
work with them?
No.
Can assist them?
The only way we're allowed to is if their board voted for us to be the appraisal district there, or combine the appraisal district, we would have one office, and that's not gonna happen. Yeah. And that's fine with me. Is there any-
It doesn't matter,
We have
except
enough,
like Betty says, then it affects the way we are
Yeah.
looked at by the state.
It does.
It does.
Our best bet is to work with the state to try
So
to.
our goal this year is to really get a very positive increase on El Paso Electric. And I have told their tax rep that, to pass that along. One of the problems, at least at Marathon, we deal directly with the company. With El Paso Electric, we're dealing through a tax rep. So there's always this kind of intermediary kind of thing. So we're doing the best we can. So, at any rate.
When do you perceive that that will be resolved?
Judging from the past, I have had them sit at that table with me on the day of the ARB and come to an agreement.
It'll be July.
See, I was gonna say, probably the middle of the summer.
So I can't say because it's not up to me. I've done my appraisal. I know what I think it should be. I have told their tax rep, this is what we're looking at. You need to pass that along to El Paso Electric. And I honestly don't know.
Is it a local tax rep?
No, it's Ryan out of Houston.
I know who they are.
So I don't know. We're going to do our best. And like the chairman says, we're trying to work cooperatively because none of us wants to spend a bunch of money on attorneys.
No offense, Joe.
But
None taken.
Guarding public dollars. if I step in.
That's funny. But, you know, I can't twist their arm, so. And okay, I'll just tell you, I will be back either in October or November, and we'll know the answer. So we'll give you the answer at that point in time. Hopefully it's good news. But they're building 2 new solar farms. They're not, neither one of them, and I have double checked this, were operational January 1st. But they both had significant assets on the ground on January 1st. So we're expecting a significant increase in value in Tornillo and the Chihuahua, did you say that Chihuahuan Desert? Chihuahuan Desert is only 12.5 megawatts, so it's small. So it's not a huge amount in San Elizario. Elizario. See, I need to learn how to say that better. But it's a significant amount of money there as well. And next year it'll be more. So so those two are coming in. It's going to be really large in Tornillo. I don't know. Did they give any abatements or any 213 agreements?
You know, I don't, when we were visiting with them, San Lazario said no, that they did not.
How about Tornillo?
Tornillo ISD, I'm not sure, but the city, well, the ISD's not, but Tornillo doesn't have a city, so there's no abatements. And San Lazario, the town of San Lazario did not give abatements, so there's no abatements.
So that'll be a nice increase to their tax base in both those school districts and
They're looking
areas.
forward to it.
So we do site inspections starting in September, October through February, and take notes and talk directly with the field personnel. It's the one time I get to talk to actual people from El Paso Electric, and we use that information when we do our appraisals. Our top priority is that we have excellent service to El Paso Appraisal District, and we get our appraisals performed accurately and timely, a quick response time. Within 24 hours, we try to respond to all emails and all requests, and we provide data and reports. We provide custom reports if necessary at no additional charge, and our goal is to surpass all requirements of the contract. Then, last but not least, the taxpayers of El Paso are our ultimate customers, and we answer our own phone calls. If taxpayers call, we promptly answer them with an appraiser talks to them. And when we get a protest, we actually reach out to the taxpayers and say, hey, we got a protest from you. What's the issue, and what information can you provide us to support any change in your value? So that is it. And are there questions? Please.
I will say that if they follow suit this year, as they've been doing, is she was saying when they get the protest, they contact the companies, but we do have them scheduled for formal hearings, and out of all of the ones, maybe 1 or 2, and they'll end up usually getting settled at the last minute. So they work very diligently with the businesses, the property owners, to come to some kind of agreement so we can go ahead and certify our roles. So they're very good at keeping track of that. So thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Peggy.
Okay.
Thank you
Is
both for
there-
being here.
You're very welcome. Is there anything else? Malcolm and I actually have a flight after this, so we were going to go ahead and leave. Is there any?
No, everybody's happy. with it.
Yes. Thank you for reminding.
Happy anniversary, too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If you would get us, maybe you could email us some of those slides, which I think.
We can do that. We have the presentation on file already. So, yeah, because we downloaded it for this, so we have it. So we'll make sure those that want an email, those that want it printed. I know Ms. Searles would like printed. Mr. Gonzalez, would you like printed or emailed? The presentation, would you like? Because I know you like printed also. Okay. not a problem.
And here's, I think I gave,
Bless
does
you.
everybody have a business card? If you get it, you have any questions, just email me or, did I give you?
You
one?
did.
I did. Anybody else?
Okay.
So, please, I mean, I'm responsive to emails, phone calls.
So just to clarify, the top 10 that she has are the top 10 that
Winning
board
form.
law
That's right.
represents. There's substantially more top 10
Yes.
from whom we get money here in this. So I don't want you to think that's
That's
the
right.
top 10 of the Central
Thank you
Appraisal
very much.
District.
Yeah.
It's the top 10
Yeah,
of the
for you.
ward law contract. That's real important to distinguish.
Very important.
All right, anything else? All right,
Thank
you'll
y'all
get us
very
copies.
much.
Thank you. For the record, we need this for the record. I do want, you all voted on it, you've already approved it, but I need to put the number into the record. So the budget we've approved is a budget for $26,451,461.22. Just for the record. Is that okay? Get that? Okay. All right, discussion of possible, so summers, we have the ARB meeting, it's real crowded, we don't even have room. So we've generally skipped the June and July meeting, but we need to vote on that. Now, we aren't required to meet every month. We're only required to meet quarterly. But we meet every month because, first of all, we like each other. And it's,
We like to
but
see
we
each
have a
other.
lot of business. We have a lot of business. So at the end of the day, I do need a motion to allow us to skip the meetings for June and July, and our next meeting will be in August. Is
Move
that
to
all right?
approve.
All right, move, second. Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So we won't be meeting June or July. It really makes it better for the Central Appraisal District and for us. We get the summer off and we'll meet again in August. Anything, now, if there's a special issue,
Then
I
we'll
will call a special meeting, and or somebody will call a special meeting, and you guys will meet. But unless that happens, and it could happen if some of the entities do not approve the budget. So if for whatever reason we have an issue with the budget, it's possible we could have a meeting, but it's never happened in all the years I've been here, and I don't think it's going to happen. All right. Discussion of possible action on approving 3 alternative appraisal review board members, Tracy,
Well, that's me.
or you.
That's me.
Okay, that's you.
So, board members, in March when we came in, we were talking about, we've already put some alternative board members that the committee had put as alternative so that they could attend some of the training. It was brought to our attention that we really need to bring that to the board so that the board can vote as a whole, that 3 of the alternates are now active members of the ARB, and they are participating in the training and sitting in hearings.
Good.
So we just need approval for that.
Remember, we're responsible for the ARB now. So
Right.
since they were alternates, we are now approved. Do you have names, or do we just say 3 alternates?
Just say 3 alternates.
All right, 3 alternates. Are we going to have 3 new alternates?
No, this is it for the summer.
You're not going to need 3 new alternates.
No, we're good.
All right,
I'll make a
so,
motion to approve 3 new alternates.
well, the 3 alternates we've already
The
approved
3
to become
alternates that we've
permanent.
already selected to the ARB board.
There you go.
Second.
Is there any discussion? So we're just taking the alternates we've already approved, and we're switching them into
Into
members of the
active
ARB,
members
that's all.
instead of an alternate.
All
We
right,
We're
already
activating them.
lost
Any
3.
questions or
That,
issues?
we lost 3 back in February.
But we will not have 3 alternates
I
now.
thought we had
These are the
only
3
lost, like,
alternates we're
2.
pushing up.
So I do have a question. Tracy, is it normal that we approve? Because I know we're going down the list. And this year we picked several additional alternates.
7 alternates.
Where we normally just pick 5. Where are we at now?
We are at number 4.
So we have 3 remaining.
Yes.
Okay, that's good to know.
That's a good question. Thank you. Any other questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay. Something called the Taxpayer Liaison Report.
Good evening, Board of Directors. Tracy Carter, Taxpayer Liaison Officer. I wanted to let you all know that the ARB has they started on the 21st of April. They started with only 1 panel, which is 3 members. And on May 5th, they increased that to 4 panels to serve our property owners. May 12th, they went up to 6 panels. And in June 2nd, they will increase to 12 panels. So we'll be using all this area right here for the ARB hearings. and all of the ARB members have completed their state comptroller's training. I have completed my state comptroller's training and my taxpayer liaison officer training, and I gave my certificates to administration. And this year, we are looking at working 4 Saturdays this summer to assist the property owners who are not able to make it Monday through Friday. And we did receive a resignation letter from one of our ARB members. So we have decided that we are good with 44 members, so we're not going to replace that next position.
You're good.
We're good.
We increased it to 45, so it was 36.
Yes, and does anybody have any questions?
Any questions? You haven't gotten any complaints yet, nothing?
No
like that?
complaints
It's
yet.
too early yet.
Yes.
We'll get them, you'll hear them, they're not here yet. Any questions of Tracy? Thank you, as always, you do a great job, we appreciate you. All right, it's all yours, back to you.
Okay, so, board members, I just want to let you know that David Stone and myself have been attending community neighborhood meetings for elected officials that have their neighborhood meetings, and for just some of the neighborhood groups. So we've been attending those and giving presentations. We presented to City Council on Monday, County Commissioners. We'll see you on next Monday, or this coming Monday. So we've been out and about talking to folks. Number of protests as of Wednesday, or as of Wednesday, we had just a little over 20,000 protests. Now, today was the deadline, or is the deadline. So we'll see how many we get into the system after today. Our electronic scanning, the barcode, and being able to go into the website and do a electronic filing of a protest has been very popular and has been utilized very well. So we're going to continue that and expand on that. So we'll get an idea of after today what our numbers are going to be. And I will inform you, even though we're not having a meeting June or July, I will be sending out email in June and an email in July to let you know where we are in the way of number of protests, how many have been heard, or anything that may have come up that is of interest to the board. There'll be no action, no voting or anything. It'll just be informative, and we'll send it out to you individually so that you can see how the hearings are going. So I'll continue to do that. No, not yet. We turned over the records. According to the statutes, we have to turn over all of our records to the Appraisal Review Board prior to May 15th. So we have done that. We did that on the 14th. We did that yesterday. So now the records are officially in their hands. So any changes we make, there's a different process that we have to go by, and we have to re-notify people if we make any changes. But the records are now the ARBs, and they'll turn them back over to us on the 20th or before that. Legislative update. Commissioner Coronado was mentioning we just had a legislative meeting with the TAD and on our committee, our legislative committee on Tuesday. The exemption for business personal property currently is $2,500. Anything under that is exempt. They were looking at $250,000. They're now looking at $125,000, getting rid of the $2,500. So they're looking at just the $125,000. But what they're looking at is, say for an example, you have a McDonald's, or you have a hospital like the Hospital Providence, where they have multiple hospitals around the area. That will only be applied, well, is what it looks like, but there's still changes because they're still going between the House and the Senate. That would be applied to one property per taxing entity. So the Hospital of Providence couldn't get, or churches or a McDonald's couldn't get all of their McDonald's wiped out. And it's only on the personal property. It's not on the real estate. So it's only on the personal property. So not all the McDonald's would be wiped out. Only one McDonald's within the El Paso ISD. One McDonald's in Isleta ISD. But we're not sure how that's going to play out. So we're still waiting to see. One of the things we were able to get them to do is not do it this year, but to wait till 2026 to give us some time once it's passed to figure out how that's going to play out. A lot of our companies are, they're the same ownership, but they're under different names. You know, incorporated or LLCs or whatever. So how is that going to play out? So that is something that we're waiting to see how that plays out. So we're hoping, because of that, it won't be such a big hit on the entities, because it wouldn't be 125,000 taken off of all of a fast food, which would mean, you know, they pay zero. But just one in that jurisdiction. Now, county-wise, it would be like 42 that would be taken off, because there's 42. But again, we don't know. Does it mean the MUDs? Does it mean the emergency services districts, the water districts? Where is going to be the dividing line on, is there going to be municipalities, county, and school districts only? Or is it going to include all of those other, we've got a couple emergency services districts, we have multiple MUDs, we have, you know, water districts. So we're waiting to see how that plays out. And as soon as we know, you know, I would say check with your lobbyists, you know, at your districts, but we'll keep you, that'll be one of the things I'll keep you informed on. For you school districts, the homestead looks like it's heading to the finish line. And that's going to be 140,000 just strictly for the school districts off of a general homestead, with an additional 60 for those over 65 or disabled. So that would mean 200,000 for over 65 or disabled. Now that loss is supposed to be made up by the state coffers, but as we all know, last year that was some issue on the schools getting all that they were entitled to. So that's another thing. Now that'll be automatic. People will not have to come in and refile. We'll automatically do that here. Now, that being said, on the certified roll that goes to your entities, we will do multiple certified rolls. We'll have one certified roll like we did 2 years ago that will have everything as it is right now. All of this that I've talked about has to go to the voters at the November election. So we will have to do another appraisal roll that will have all of this that's going to the voters already taken into consideration. So the entities will have that roll with a total, and then they'll have a roll with a total as everything is right now. So they'll be able to look at, okay, here's what it is if it doesn't pass the voters, here's what it is if it passes the voters. So your entities will have those two different rolls so they can see the difference. So that's something, another reason why we're watching. So that's where we'll be notifying y'all. We do have some lawsuits that we're working on that are for back years on some big properties. Once we have something really to bring to the board, we'll put it under executive session, and Mr. Longoria will be here to give you an update on some of those big ones. And we'll know a little bit more in August and September what the status is of those. And that's all I have. Yes, sir.
I just want to add something. Our government affairs person and our lobbyists, and as well as the Commissioners Court, we've sent a letter of support. We're trying to get the legislature to reimburse the taxing entities for the exemptions that are given to veterans. And so they've done some of it in the past. We're asking them for the full amount. Where we're going to end up, I don't know, but I think we're going to get an increase of what it was last year. So just to let y'all know.
Well, I think what it is you have to lose at least 15% of your taxable value before they'll reimburse you. And we have a lot of 100% disabled veterans, but doesn't come up to 15%.
Well, we're still asking them to
lower
supplant
that
something
percentage.
more. Yes.
Yeah, because if they lower their percentage, we may have some that
Yes,
would meet that. Yeah,
Exactly. So
that
we're
would be
trying to
good.
do as much as we can to get the state, because we know they're trying to cut us down on a lot of they're like planning on dropping by as much as 46% in aids to the counties. Statewide, they want to drop it by about 46%
Wow,
of the budget.
wow.
And the federal government is doing the same thing to all, as far as grants. So a lot of the taxing entities are going to be suffering this year because of, everything's in limbo right now with the grants.
What we can do on that veterans, if we have an idea of what percentage they're looking at, I think we can run you a report to show you if we had anything in here that would qualify, any of the entities that would qualify.
Okay.
With a change in percentage, but right now, with the percentage the way it is,
Right.
it doesn't qualify. One of the other things David Stone was reminding me of right now is, as y'all know, last legislature, they started a pilot program, what they called the circuit breaker, which would give non-homesteaded properties a 20% cap between an appraised value and a market value. They've taken no action on that. It looks like when it expires at the end of 2026, it's going away. So that circuit breaker will be gone for non-homesteaded property owners, which is a little more money in the coffers for the entities, but the commercial property owners and renters and rental houses and stuff won't have that gap. It'll go, we don't know if it's going to gradually go up or if it's just going to go away and you're going to go from here, boom, to here. We're not sure. We're watching that bill to see how that process is going to be. But so far, no action on that.
I have a question, Mr. Chair. Donnie, you said that the homestead exemption would go to the voters. Would that be in November?
In November, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. It has to go
It's
to
a
the voters.
resolution.
Yeah, the voters will need to vote on that and on the personal property, 125.
Not a guru, but I think they're gonna pass it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, I would tend to think.
Unless
My
nobody
question
tells
is,
anybody to go
you know,
vote.
I have friends who own fast food franchises, and each of their buildings is individually, they have individual tax numbers for each building. So my question is, and separate corporations for each entity, for each location. So are they gonna get the exemption on each location? Because even though it may be one guy that owns it,
It's
it's under
different.
separate entities, and he's got it, each one of them is separate, for liability issues.
Yeah,
He did it for liability, but as it turns out, it may be beneficial.
and we're not sure how that's going to, that's one of the big questions that we presented to both sides, the House and the Senate, as to, okay, how does this really play out? And what happens if you have a business that has a free port, or, they have special inventory? What happens when, okay, you've got it, and what it is now is they will fill out a form and render once, and then they don't have to render again. But the appraisal district will still have to send out renditions, will still have to go out and check them every year, will still have to value them every year. So that doesn't change our workload, it actually makes more of a workload, because now we have to keep track of that. So we're waiting to see how does that, and if you have it on one, and that, say, fast food closes, does it automatically get transferred to another one? Do you have to refile? I mean, there's a lot of issues that they're still trying to work out. Mr. Longoria, I don't know if you're aware of any of the issues that are going on.
And then there's also the interplay with the definition of what property is in the Texas tax code. Generally speaking, you look at the description of the property, there's a specific provision for that. PIDs generally relate to a single piece of property. So this is a really far-reaching bill, and nobody really knows how to clean it up right now. We don't know how it's going to play out yet.
But here in El Paso County, we're still, I think they did some numbers, we're still, I think around 17,000 accounts that will be affected. Well, basically all of them, because even your accounts that are over 125 will get 125 taken off. So basically all of our, 24,000 personal property accounts.
I mean,
will-
my fear is, well, how's it gonna affect the entities? All of a sudden, they're gonna have this big pocket of it's empty, and they're gonna have to make adjustments in their budgets, and they're not gonna know until the end of the year, really, how bad that's gonna
Well,
be.
at the 250,000 level, we had estimated about 7 million plus deficit to the county from that. Right
Don't
now,
worry
it's
about your
probably
county
about
tax
3.5
assessor here. It's gotta
million or
balance
so
it.
right now.
You still gotta
where it's
balance
at.
your budget.
Yeah.
With a $7 million hit.
So Commissioner Cornell, to answer, we are going to keep track, and we will let all of our board members know, because you're going to have entities that are going to say, what does this mean,
Right.
or what's the status? And I know y'all have your own lobbyists, or you're talking to your own group, but I think the more information we can give you on this as to what the direction is, as soon as we know. But knowing it's not going to be till, that's the only thing we know for sure, not till 2026. But at the last minute, they could even change that. So,
Well, the other thing that was related to this particular is there was another bill out there where they wanted to, every taxing entity, that any increase in your budget was considered to, actually, you had to go to the voters. We didn't have that gap of between the voter approval rate and the no new revenue rate. I don't, that bill's out there. I don't think it's going to make it, but just to let y'all know, that was out there where no increase, any increase would have been considered. That's it.
Correct.
It triggers going, you have to have a voter election. You know what that would do? Especially to us here, double sending
Cost.
out for those entities that did, went over that. To have to send notices again after November election?
Well, and the dates right now, today was the date for the House to get everything out to the Senate. Then the Senate has, I forgot how many, 15 days or something. They have so many days then to respond. I think everything has to be done by the 29th to get it out. But then it's still in this discussion. And bills that didn't get out, didn't get on the floor, or didn't get out of committee or anything, they can still tack those on to enact a bill. Even if the bill has nothing to do with it, they come up with a reason to tack that on. So a bill like that looks like it's dead,
Could
we
be
still
tacked
have
on,
to
yes.
watch it because they could tack it on as it gets through towards the end of the session. I think we've all had to deal with that when y'all were working with the different entities.
And I think they're doing that actually with another bill where they're tagging on to another one where it's restricting taxing entities from, even if you, when you go out for bonds, and how much of those you can sell at any point in time. They could delay depending on what your debt service is. You could be delayed even though your voters passed it. They could tell you, okay, well, you got too much debt, you got to wait until so much time before you issue these new bonds, even though the voters. So it's
Just
kind
let
of
it be known that this appraisal district board empathizes with the entities that are out there that receive our monies, and we understand that it's gonna get harder in the next couple of years for them to be able to make their budgets but it's not because of us. And I think we need to point that out. It's because of the state legislature and whatever rules you have to follow, but it isn't us. And
Exactly.
that's what Dinah's trying to say. All right, any other questions of Dinah? All right, I don't think we have any request to go into executive session or any reason.
No, sir.
And I don't think anybody has any discussion or possible action on any previous item that we've already discussed. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second? Is there, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We stand adjourned
At what time?
at exactly 6 o'clock.
What are you gonna do about the snacks?